Today on Tech Weekly, we've got a ton of hacker news. We're going to talk about Duke Nukem Forever and their PR team threatening to punish sites that give them bad reviews. And finally, Facebook is going to finally ship an iPad app in the near future. And Carlo Brown joins us from twitter.com/Carlo Brown and theteenagehackers.com. All this week on Tech Weekly. Wow, I don't know what I was doing. Anyway, Carlo, how are you doing today?
I'm alright. A bit of a sore throat, but I'm surviving.
It is.
It's pretty hot today.
It's hot here too. I mean, we're in the. I don't know. I guess we're just. I always forget how hot it gets here because for most of the year it's not like. I mean, it's still hot, but it's not like 100 degrees. But then when the summer comes, especially for the first couple months, I'm like, oh, come on.
Yeah, but we're in summer weather now, I think. I don't know if it's even officially summer here, but it's definitely summer weather.
Yeah, I don't think it's summer here either. I think summer comes in like late June for us or something. So, couple things. Awesome news. All of our video podcasts are now in iTunes. Got the confirmation the other day. And what I'll do is if you subscribe to the newsletter, I'll probably put it in the like the bottom part of every post, the iTunes link. So if you want to, I know some people like to subscribe in there. I'm not a big iTunes guy, but I know a lot of people get their podcasts through iTunes, so that's awesome. So Fab Lab, Tech Weekly, Gadget Gurus, and PB at Night are all in the iTunes store for your viewing pleasure. And now I got to work on audio feeds. And then also, there's one more thing. Oh, make sure to subscribe to the newsletter. Really happy with the numbers that we've been getting for the newsletter, and the latest one will be shipping this coming Monday morning, around 7 a.m. Central Time, and that's done through Tiny Letter. So all you have to do is enter your email address. I think, right, Carlo? I think what you do, it's like email address, and then they send you an email for confirmation, and that's it. So
you just put your email in the box. They send you an email to the address. Then you have to click the link in your email, and it says thank you for subscribing, and then that's basically it. That's all you have to do. And
we had some issues last week, but Tiny Letter assured me that it was their fault, and it wasn't any, that's not how it's not supposed to ship 5 hours later from when I click go. So hopefully
it was something like 5-6 hours later.
It was
or something.
bad. I was like, what? So, okay, is it not going to work? And then that night, I'm like, oh great, that's awesome.
So it's something like, for me, it was about 4 p.m. and I got it literally about 1:30 in the morning.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway,
quite literally after you finish Gadget Gurus.
Yeah. Oh well, at least it got out. So like I said, there's a lot of hacker stories. And Carla, I don't know if you remember this, but earlier in the year we talked about some Citigroup hackers. They got some credit card numbers and stuff, and it turns out Citigroup is to blame 100% for this. And this is from slashdot.org, great website that we pull a lot of our tech news from. The hackers who stole the personal details for more than 200,000 Citigroup customers broke in through the front door using an extremely simple technique that has been called one of the most brazen bank hacking attacks in recent years. And for the first time, it has been revealed how sophisticated cyber criminals made off with the staggering bounty of names, account numbers, email addresses, and transaction history. Now, Carlo, I don't know if you read this, but this is just horrible. I mean, come on. And, banks are supposed to be the most secure internet, sites on the internet besides, give or take, backup. I know that Carbonite advertises that they use the same encryption that banks do, but I want my personal financial records to be secure, right?
Yeah, they went through the front door. It basically tells you quite a bit about their security, isn't it?
Yeah. So what I got from it, there was a couple different ways that they got in, but the main way was they were pulling directly from the URL, different account numbers, different even credit card numbers were being stored in the URL. So it would say Citi bank or city.com or whatever their website is, / blah, 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 user / blah, blah, blah. And then it would have like a credit card number in there. And then they would easily...
that's insane.
That's crazy. I mean, if you're going to... Oh my gosh. I mean, come on. This is one of those things where... And I trust online banking probably more than the next guy. But I'm sorry... I mean, they didn't even have to go through the encryption files, you know? Like, they weren't even getting to that stuff. It was just straight through the front door. I mean, come on.
Yeah, well, they've got a big recovery ahead of them if they want to either keep or gain new customers in the future. It's ridiculous, that.
I don't know. I mean, some of the other stores we're going to talk about, they had to jump through some hoops to get through it. I mean, they were hacking away and stuff, but, I mean... It was something that one of these the hacker group said, you know, it didn't take us long to even, I mean, it took us like 20 or 30 minutes to even find that out, like, and we were through. So that's tough luck for Citigroup, and honestly, if I'm online banking with Citigroup right now, I'm not going to be too happy, honestly. I'm sorry.
I need to hire a better security team.
Yeah. But, I mean, the thing that gets me is... I'm sure that the back-end security was there, but the only issue is I mean, they didn't even have time to use it. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't even getting to the back-end for anybody to use it.
My bank doesn't keep my bank details in my URL when I go...
Oh, yeah, I know.
But that's just like that. I just think it's absolutely ridiculous. Like, when I go through my bank, I go to like... it goes through HTTPS, and you log in, you got like a timeout or something if you don't do anything for about 10 minutes. But there's no, like, my bank card number isn't in the URL at the top, and there's no, it's not like the way they did it. The way they did it, that just seems to be really, like, lax.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, that's just completely stupid. Anyway, but we do have some other hacker stories that are more interesting than that one, because, you know, that wasn't, I mean, come on. But our next story here is from Ars Technica, and earlier this week, some leaked specs, were released of the Nexus 4G. They already have like the Nexus S 4G, so I kind of hope that they don't call it the Nexus 4G. But anyway, very interesting specs on this thing. This is coming from Boy Genius Reports. With a working title Google Nexus S, the phone looks like a monster. It'll have Android 4.0 ice cream sandwich, a 720p display, 1080p video capture, and 4G LTE radio, which essentially means, you know, in the U.S., you're probably going to get it through Sprint or Verizon. Either a 1.2 gigahertz or a 1.5 gigahertz dual-core processor that could be an OMAP 4460 or a low-power Snapdragon model. The phone will also have a gig of RAM, 720p monster-sized screen, and you know they don't have the screen size yet, but 5 megapixel rear camera and I think it was 1.3 megapixel front facing camera. So that's some pretty hefty specs, is it not, Carlo?
We could do better than a 1.3 on the front. Yeah,
I guess you're right, but the thing I'm interested in is the 720p screen. I mean, I think it's really.
That is impressive.
Yeah, I think like the two screens that I would rival right now is like on the Nexus S, they have the the OLED screen, and then the iPhone. But OLED tends to, I had an OLED screen on my like feature phone, but it was really low resolution. But I got the gist of it. Like essentially, it oversaturates like some blues, and like it kind of looks like a I don't know. It kind of looks sort of fake. I don't know how to describe it, but anyway. But overall,
on the iPhone, they got the Retina display.
Yeah.
Basically, the only difference I can sort of tell between that and my old iPhone 3G is that the text just seems a bit sharper.
Yeah.
And perhaps video actually looks HD or whatever when I'm watching it on YouTube, but not major difference between that and my old iPhone 3G, really.
Yeah. Now, actually, I'm more interested. I like the 720p display and 1080p video capture. I'm not too like hyped on that because honestly, my phone does. They advertise it does 720p and it's like at 15 or 20 frames, and it's not that great. But I noticed they are going with a 5-megapixel camera here, and this is something that I've taken notice in. Is it? I think the iPhone has a 5-megapixel camera, right?
It's 4 or 5. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know I can do 720p with the back camera.
Yeah.
I did that with when I did the man cave video. I did that with the rear camera on the iPhone.
And it looked really good. I mean, that's one of the only things I think if I could have the camera of the iPhone 4 on any Android device, I think I would go with it. But I don't know. I think Apple has demonstrated time and time again that it does not really matter what the megapixel count is, especially on a phone, because I know some Android phones have an 8-megapixel camera and they just look like crap. I mean, compared to the iPhone 4, I think it's really
depends on.
Yeah.
It depends on lighting as well. As I did the other videos I did with the front camera on the iPhone, then they looked alright as well. They're a little bit pixelated in places, but I was in a pretty bright room, so
yeah,
we couldn't really tell the difference whether it was the front or the back. But the other videos I did where you can see my face done with the front camera, and the man cave videos done with the back camera.
Yeah. I think 4G is interesting. It still hasn't reached its market share in the U.S., especially with Sprint. I know Sprint has a major market about 100 miles from here, but I mean, that's kind of not a game changer for me. I did notice that T-Mobile had some new 4G announcements today. They're now in 96 markets, which is pretty big, but I don't know. Interesting.
We don't even have 4G in the UK as of yet. I think we're supposed to be getting some kind of testing or something like that going on, some kind of trial. But as far as I know, as of yet, there is no 4G here. So
yeah,
I don't know about that.
I have AT&T has this interesting thing, and the people at Best Buy described it to me as 3.5G, which doesn't make any sense because everybody knows that the G stands for generation, right? It doesn't.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's basically faster than
but
standard 3G. I don't know. You can get over a certain.
Yeah.
I think it's over 1.5 megabits per second or something. They call it like 3.5G or something like that.
Yeah. Now I think it's I forget what they call it, but most of the time around here, if I have full bars on AT&T, I'm on this supposed 3.5G, and it works. I'll have to say it is better speeds. I can usually I usually top out at about 1 megabit, maybe a little bit higher on 3G, and I can usually get about 1.5, like you said, or even I've gotten 2 if I'm really close to. You can tell you're really close to the tower. Download, but I mean, my phone is 4G capable, but AT&T has not shown that they're rolling out 4G right now because that's going to require either new towers or I think they have to change something at the bottom of the tower that I've read. But this 3.5G or whatever they're calling it, I think it's HSP Plus or something. I don't know. But it just...
they're merging with the T-Mobile so they can use their HSPA towers or something.
I hope so. Anyway, that's interesting. I want to track 4G. I think we'll see it in the next couple months getting a lot bigger. But anyway, to our next story here. This is I kind of like Mashable for this. They're really good with infographics. We showed a couple of their infographics and their stats. But the first time I looked at this, it wasn't really surprising. But then when I dug into the article and kind of thought about it, it is pretty surprising. Social networking use has doubled since 2007. It's all thanks to Facebook and Twitter and another array of social companies reaching traffic highs. ComScore's latest numbers are out, and they paint a familiar story. Social networking is on the rise. The rate of growth is surprising, though. According to the web analytics firm, the average online user in the U.S. now spends nearly 16% of his or her time on the web using social sites such as Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Tumblr, etc. That's up from just 8% in July 2007. And they've got a pretty cool little chart here that tracks it. But anyway, that's actually Facebook and MySpace. So MySpace has been on the downfall there.
That's not surprising.
Yeah, that's not surprising at all. Now, when I first looked at this, it made a good amount of sense. I mean, I'm just okay, well, Facebook Facebook has gotten a lot more popular. I mean, in 2007, Facebook was really a college play. Twitter was just getting started. So, but then I thought about this. 16%, so 1 in every 6 minutes, essentially, is spent browsing Facebook or Twitter. I mean, just think about that. Let's just say, I don't know if that's the specific use case for me, probably, but
No, I've always got Twitter up in the corner somewhere if I'm on the computer or I've got it on my phone.
yeah.
Facebook is more of an occasional thing for me. I don't usually go browsing through it like what Jacob said before. If I'm a bit bored and
That's how
or someone messages me on there or something, I'll bring it up for about 5 minutes and then shut it off again. But I'm always up on Twitter though.
Yeah, same with me. But I mean, that's pretty. And I don't know. I'm kind of thinking about something here. I mean, literally, probably 90% of my mom's usage of the internet right now is Facebook. I'm not gonna lie. The rest of it is either spent like reading. She reads a couple blogs that, like money saver blogs and stuff. But other than that, like she's always on Facebook. And every time I walk in there, she's looking at somebody's pictures or whatever. I don't know. I mean, that's just not for me. But anyhow,
yeah, I'm the only member of my family who's connected online, so
yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's just crazy. All right, so our next story here is kind of an interesting one, Carlo. If you recall, we talked about when LinkedIn went filed for IPO, and they actually had a very successful week on the first week on the trading blocks there in the New York Stock Exchange. Well, Pandora, which is a great service, I use it. Can y'all get Pandora in the UK?
no, not here.
Okay. So Pandora, if you don't know about it, I mean, I think a lot of people know about it. Pandora.com. It's a music streaming service, and it's completely free. They do have ads, but, you know, whatever. I think they play an ad, like, once every, like, 10 or 15 songs, so it's not bad. And you can type in an artist, you can type in a song, and what it does, it either matches music that is by that artist, or is that song, or music like that song. And it's really, I mean, it's very accurate. Like, I know it's not that hard, especially with the knowledge base that they've acquired, probably. But anyway, they went public this week, and my dad is like really big into tracking stocks and stuff. And Pandora, you know, a lot of people were talking about it. It's one of the web's most popular and beloved music services. And smart investors shouldn't go anywhere near the company's stock. I think this is one of those issues. I think LinkedIn is more of a proven like social network in a sense, because there's so many different. You know, there's a bunch of they have a huge business.
There's a lot of business-oriented people on there. It's got quite a big following in that department.
Yeah. Let's see here. In the early morning trading, Pandora, which trades under the ticker symbol P, was up 28% to $20.37 a share, but then began to level off, and they finished the day at $17.42 a share, up 8%. But you know, I don't think Pandora is going to make it, honestly. I think this is going to be... I think LinkedIn was a very, like, that made a lot of people online feel, like, really comfortable and in the startup space and stuff, seeing a startup like LinkedIn go big. But Pandora doesn't really seem like they have the right business model, per se. You know what I mean? Like, well, LinkedIn... I don't know, though. I mean, LinkedIn, if you think about it...
I don't know much about them. I just know that... it's like it's a music service or streaming service. Like we have similar things here. We've got like Spotify, which you can. Pretty much it's pretty similar.
Yeah.
But it's like popular. I would have thought with a lot of people that's streaming music online. But I don't know. I'm really not sure. Yeah. It's sort of going to be sort of 50-50 really. If they're still around about a year from now, then you know they'll make it. If not, then you know, something else may take its place.
Yeah, I think Pandora makes more sense to me, staying like as a private company and making ad revenue and stuff, because I think that's their major reach. But right before they went on the New York Stock Exchange, they got another huge influx of venture capital, and I've always been like, I don't know, on the wall about venture capital. I mean, it allows you to do some things like, if you're starting a startup or something, it allows you to do a lot different things let you hire more developers and stuff. But when that runs out, I mean, those venture funders, they're wanting their investment plus some back. And you never really can guarantee that. I mean, Pandora just happened to be successful, but I mean, if you're starting up a startup that does like organic food sales or something and that doesn't work out, now you're in the hole with a bunch of investors that, you know, they're sitting there going, hey, you know, even though you fail, we want our money back plus, you know, something else. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to track Pandora. I don't think they'll go away as a service, but, you know.
I think it'll just be 50-50, really.
Yeah.
Because there's other stuff out there, like the iTunes Cloud thing that's coming out now, and there's Google Music and all that sort of stuff. So if people start turning to them and sort of leaving Pandora or whatever, so to speak, then they'll be in trouble. But then there'll be people out there obviously still like to use the service, so it's sort of 50-50 really at this particular point in time.
All right, so earlier this week we talked about some of the new, or I think we mentioned it, I don't think we actually talked about it on any show, but we mentioned it, that Google released their new instant page, I think they call it, that's going to come out, I think it's in Chrome 13 or 14, the beta, I'm not quite sure. But they also released this new service called Me on the Web. And it's a tool to help you monitor your web identity. And for somebody who, I'm not like big into like branding and stuff, but I do like to follow some of, you know, like I do like following analytics and stuff. And this is pretty interesting to me. Google announced a new tool on Wednesday entitled Me on the Web. It's a component on the Google dashboard that allows you to set up custom Google alerts for mentions of your name or email address in news articles. In addition, it offers tips and resources to help you monitor and control your online identity. The Me on the Web section lists links from your profile as well as various websites to make reference to it. These links are sites that are integrated into your Google profile. You may be able to see these before your new profile section gives you the ability to see them all in one place. They've got a little picture here. I've used Google Alerts for multiple occasions. I use them more for pbcasttv because, Carl, I don't know if you know this, but like online videos and interesting. It's kind of weird because like we'll post a blip, and even though like technically people can, I don't know, people like repost our stuff on their website trying to get hits and stuff just for SEO and stuff. Like if we do a show, like I know our mixer tutorials and stuff are like really big on YouTube, or not really big, but you know they're some of our like highest view getting shows, and a lot of people repost those, which in a sense I really don't care, because as long as they're using our same like YouTube embed or blip.tv embed or whatever, like we're still getting the views. But in other cases it's kind of, I don't know, it's weird. But anyway, I like tracking that because a lot of times they'll use the word pbcasttv, and I've used Google page alerts for a while now. I have one for my like username, Nick Jones, just because there's not too many people that use that around the web. So more than likely, if somebody mentions me in a website, it's gonna be like, if they say that Nick Jones, it's usually gonna be me. And then pbcasttv, one of the good things about having kind of like an off the wall name like that for our broadcast network is like nobody mentions it without like mentioning you. You know what I mean? So.
I can't say I've actually seen this before, so it's quite interesting. Yeah,
I know that they've had like search tracking for a while, but this is cool because it kind of goes out and spiders, I guess you could say, like it tracks the whole web. It doesn't just track search results in a way. That's pretty cool, and I like the fact that it also tracks you through Twitter and stuff now. That was one of the interesting things is we've seen, like, if you go to google.com now, you can actually search, like, real time. You can search, like, what people are saying on Twitter and Facebook and stuff. I think that's pretty cool because right now the service I use simply indexes, or it emails me when a new Google result is published, nothing else. So, like, most of the time when we publish an episode, the next day it'll email me and say, hey, pbcasttv, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I like those rundowns just because it allows me to track, you know, who's mentioning us and stuff. That's pretty cool. So I like, and I also like the fact,
check that out.
yeah, I also like the fact that it's built into the your Google dashboard, so it integrates with your Google profile, which is pretty cool. And I live in Gmail and YouTube and stuff, so hey, works for me. This right here is kind of a, I don't know. Duke Nukem. We talked about this a little bit. It came out this week, and a lot of people were giving it horrible reviews because it's not really lived up to the hype as well. It's got kind of like some off the wall content, like it's just out there completely. And Ars Technica, which is a great tech blog, they've got this gaming site here, and Duke Nukem's former, and we'll get to that in a second, PR firm threatened to punish sites that ran negative reviews about the game. And I've done a couple reviews for different products. I know, just coming up, off the top of my head, I did a review for a Pogo plug, and they sent me a free Pogo plug. It was about $100 retail, so that was awesome. But in a way, now Carlo, I'm sure that you can relate to this. Like, if somebody sends you a product, it's kind of hard to give it a bad review. Like, even if it's just a horrible product, I may be able to hammer it. But like, in a way, like if it's just like meh, like it's a decent product, I might just have to I might up my stance on it a little bit because they send it to me for free, and that's why sometimes I don't like accepting product reviews. I mean, if somebody, I don't go like searching for product reviews very often, but if it's a product that I could like use and they're gonna, and I think it would be interesting to review, sometimes I'll ask them for it. But it's the same thing here. 2K Games has officially weighted the issue, and Ars Technica originally posted this article, then they brought it down, then they brought it back up, and all kinds of stuff. And their original PR firm, the Redner Group, is no longer representing the 2K Games. We have always maintained that a respectful working relationship with the press and do not condone their actions in any way. So essentially 2K Games came out there and said, well, we're going to disassociate with them, and honestly, they shouldn't have done this, and I guess if we make a bad game, you can give us a bad rap.
As far as this goes, really, well, as far as I saw Duke Nukem, I remember playing the original Duke Nukem 3D back when Windows 95 was the end thing. So basically, Duke Nukem is what it is. You either like it or you don't. And I don't see any reason to particularly bash it as such. If you either play it or you don't. You like it or you don't.
Yeah.
It's what it is.
I'm looking here. Here's the Redner Group's one of their tweets that essentially got them disassociated with 2K Games. Hashtag always bet on Duke. Too many went too far with their reviews. We're reviewing who gets games next time based on wait, hold on. We're reviewing who gets games next time and who doesn't based on today's Venom. I think what the Redner Group is saying, in a way, I don't think that they were saying, hey, you shouldn't give us a bad review. Actually, I don't think they're saying that at all. They're saying, okay, I think you're hammering us too much. Like, I haven't read some of the reviews that they're talking about. Like, they don't even mention some of them, but it got a Metacritic review score of 49. So,
Well, I'm not really sure what they would expect, because they took quite literally forever to bring this thing out in the first place.
I think it was 13 years, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, and the game itself is practically, well, I don't have anything against it, but it is old hat compared to quite a lot of the stuff that is out there nowadays. So I wouldn't particularly expect it to have the highest score in the world.
Right.
But like I said, it is what it is. It's Duke Nukem.
Yeah. I think that this story, the reason I find it interesting is because, like, a company just thinking about this, and I know it happens, like, just watching people on YouTube, like John Redinger or something, if he gives a bad review of something, there's a chance that that company's not going to send him anything anymore, because what's the real reason that people are sending out review products? To get their name out there, to hopefully get a good review, and to get all the viewers of whatever, or readers or whatever, to buy it, I mean, it's a PR stunt, essentially. I know that
most people who like this or whatever have been waiting for it would have bought it anyway. So
yeah,
regardless of reviews.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I don't know. That's an interesting story. So our next story here is another hacker story. There was a bunch of hacking news this week. And this is from TechCrunch. There's a group called LulzSec, and they've been doing a bunch of hacking. They actually went up against some of the other prominent hacker groups on the internet. They said that we're not attacking Anonymous. Now, that sounds kind of weird, but Anonymous is actually a hacking group. They actually were responsible for some of the Sony online and what do they call that? The online entertainment or whatever. Essentially, the PS3, PlayStation Network being down. The hacker group.
I believe that LulzSec was behind that.
Oh, they were.
Well, they did. I'm not sure entirely, but I think they did say something about it.
Okay, I know that. I'm
not like 100% certain on that one.
I don't know. This is so they pulled this interesting stunt earlier this week. They said they gave out a number, and they said I think it was I don't know what it was anyway. They gave out a number which brought you to a voicemail, and it had like this weird guy with like a totally fake French accent, and he's like, "Thank you for calling LulzSec or something. If just leave us." They wanted you to leave the like name or of a group or something that you wanted them to hack, and they tweeted earlier this week. And if you don't follow them on Twitter, I follow them on Twitter just because it's so funny. They said earlier this week that they hacked a couple sites just for the lulz, so it's pretty funny. The hacker group LulzSec, which only communicates through its own Twitter account, lulzsecurity.com, and randomly messages on Pastebin, has been on a public relations tear this morning. For the uninitiated, LulzSec is loosely conglomerated internet griefer group behind the relentless hacker war on Sony. Okay, the attacks on PBS, the U.S. Senate, the CIA, and the slew of gaming sites popular with 4chan users, including EVE Online, Minecraft, and The Legend of Legend. Smoothie saying in the chat room, it's only going to bring more government regulation, which in the U.S. we have way too much of, in my opinion, as well as in Smoothie opinions, and although I'm sure it's the same way in England as well.
There's something I believe that the government are plotting to do with the internet regulation, and something like that. I haven't looked into it fully. Whatever it is, I probably don't like it.
This is kind of weird. I don't really know what like this LulzSec group is. I guess they're just trying to get their name out there, and they're just like targeting people. I don't like.
But the last thing that I remember them doing is that this was like yesterday or the day before or something, that they released a text document with a bunch of passwords and emails in it.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
And I looked through it myself, and I actually I downloaded the thing and had a look through it, and some people have.
Whoa. Here, Carlo, we're gonna call you back. All right, that was weird. Hold on, let me call you back. That was pretty awesome. I don't know what happened. All right. That was awesome, actually. Let me get this up. Hold on. Carla was like a robot there for a second. Alright, here we go. That was weird.
What happened there then?
It was like a, it sounded like, I don't know, it was making like robot sounds or something. It got in like this digital, that's it, Smoothie. He was bad-mouthing a LulzSec, and you get turned into a robot.
Yeah, screw.
Alright, so my bad. What were we saying?
What I was saying is that, basically a couple of days ago, they released this text document, and I downloaded it and had a look through it, and saw the passwords that people have been using, and they're not very secure passwords, and people have been using like like majority of people just simply had the word password, and some people had. I saw this one person had the password "let me in," and a lot of these passwords won't even be on 6 characters long. So the people really need to, but especially with this crap going around, need to have better passwords, at least 10 to 11 characters long, and maybe you'll be less likely to have a problem when this sort of stuff's going on.
Yeah, I mean, knock on wood, I've never been, well, to my knowledge, I've never been hacked, or other than like, well, actually, I don't even think I have been, but that is some, I mean, you have to practice, we talked about this before, the same way with antivirus or something. I mean, you have to, I think your biggest defense is yourself. I mean, you can't complain about being hacked and your bank account being compromised or whatever when you have when your password is password or 1234 or your birthday or whatever. I mean, you just can't do that.
I saw a lot of it when when I had a look through. There's a lot of passwords there that basically you don't even have to be a hacker to guess some of these passwords.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, this kind of goes back to, in a way, like the Citigroup thing, but Citigroup, they need to, first of all, get their act together. But, I mean, if you're going to consume online content, if you're going to put your name out there online, I mean, you have to realize people are going to, at some point in time, there's probably going to be somebody that tries to get into one of your accounts. I mean, you just have to bank on that, and hopefully it won't happen, but if it does, your biggest defense is going to have, first of all, a really safe password, and, you know, second of all, always have, I always make sure to do this is, and Carlo, you probably will approve of the same thing. If like Facebook does this thing where if your account gets compromised, they can change your password through your mobile phone.
Yeah,
and Google does that. Yeah, and Google does that as well. Like if you link your mobile phone instead of like sending, if you try to like, let's just say your account got compromised and you tried to change your password. If somebody compromised your Gmail account, I mean, you can't change the password because they have admin control over your Gmail account. So like they'll just delete the email or say, you know, don't change the password or whatever. But if you get it sent to your phone, you're the only one who has that code. And unless the hacker has your phone, which more than likely they don't, that's another good way to make sure that, you know, all of your accounts are safe. And I mean, honestly,
a lot of people just need to basically be a bit more conscious and top of passwords that they choose and keep stuff locked down.
I mean, good practices, which most of our viewers know this. I mean, you know, I always promote like random numbers in there, like a couple of different numbers. A lot of times you have to have either a number or a character, like something besides letters. Definitely, like I use capitals sometimes, like randomly in the word. And make sure not to use dictionary. I mean, it's easy for people to have scripts and programs and stuff that just randomly insert like dictionary words from a dictionary that, you know, crack passwords. I mean, that's one of the first things that they're going to look for is if your password is like red duck 72. I mean, you know, red and duck. I don't know. I mean,
yeah, they're dictionary words.
Yeah. So our next story here is something that we've been tracking, and I need to stop saying our next story here. But anyway, is an ongoing suit in between Apple and Samsung. We saw last week that the Apple Nokia suit, you know, became final, and Nokia actually came out on top. First off, I always thought this, when the Galaxy Tab came out, they introduced this new plug that looks exactly like an Apple connector. I mean, you just have to go ahead. I mean, you look at that, there's no debate. That
pretty much is. It's black and it has Samsung on it.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
I mean, I looked at it the first time. I was looking at a Galaxy Tab. I'm like, whoa, what kind of connector is that? Because I'm used to Android devices using like mini USB or micro USB or whatever. And I look at this, I'm like, okay. I mean, that's a direct ripoff of the Apple plug there. But this isn't mentioned that they're suing for that, but I'm sure that that's in there. Apple has amended its original complaint against Samsung over the patent and intellectual property violations. I mean, they just got a ton. You know, the iPod maker has named Samsung's Nexus S 4G, the Sidekick, the Galaxy Tab 10.1, the Droid Charge, and 8 other devices as running knockoffs of Apple's own software for the iPhone and iPad. Apple has also figure 15 of Samsung's devices for having slavishly copied from the physical iPhone or iPad designs. Now, Carlo, if we look at the general like Android tablet, well, really any tablet right now, you look at the Playbook. I mean, the Playbook's not an exact rip-off of the iPad, but since the iPad was the first, like, of these, like we call them last week, we said slate more than, like, tablets, but, you know, whatever, more of these personal computing, like, tablet computer devices, they're running, like, not a desktop OS. Apple being the first to the game, I think, in a way, you can't really expect not to be copied a little bit, you know what I mean? Like,
so basically, when the iPad 1 came out, it was the reinvention of the tablet computer, and like everyone, in order to compete, is trying to make something sort of similar but different.
Yeah.
And basically saying, this is our version, it's better, or something like that. But I have to say and I saw something similar to this before with the icons, and Apple was saying that Samsung had left their icons, and they're doing extremely similar. So I think they might have been looking a bit, too similar, and that's probably why Apple's going after them.
Yeah. And it's always been debated. I mean, Android technically is a ripoff of iOS, just because iOS was one of the first mobile operating systems. I mean, it uses icons, it uses, general basic layout. It uses a grid layout per se on the home screen. I mean,
the iOS 5 is basically taking a lot of Android stuff though as well.
That's the weird part. I mean, a lot of people were saying that when Android first came out, it's a bad version of iOS, but now iOS is implementing some of the better features.
They've got the notification center now, which is basically the drop-down tray. And they've got widgets in there as well. There's basically quite a lot of stuff in iOS 5 has been basically almost ripped from Android, and then when Android did first become popular, they took a lot of stuff from iOS, so I think they should basically just live and let die.
I think Samsung has, I think that they're getting kind of what they deserve, though, in a way, because if you look at the TouchWiz UI, I think that's what they call it, they don't use the Android drawer. Like if most Android devices, if you have an app drawer or whatever they call that, and you bring up the app drawer and it has all your apps. Like on iOS, all your apps, they have to be displayed either on the home, on one of your home screens or in a folder or whatever. There's really no other way.
There's no app drawer on iOS at all. But not even in a new one.
The interesting thing is when you go into the app drawer on the TouchWiz interface, most of the time Android scrolls from top to bottom on the app drawer. In all the stock ROMs and most of the third-party ROMs, it's like that. But Samsung is the only one that scrolls from left to right or right to left like iOS when you go into the app drawer, which is, and like you said, they use like a really similar contact logo for the phone, for the messaging. I mean, it all looks a lot the same, and honestly, I don't know. I mean, I know why they do these third-party spin-offs, because they want you, like, if you like HTC Sense or something, they figure, they're probably, next time they upgrade to a phone, they're probably going to get another HTC phone or whatever. But I'm a fan of stock Android, like vanilla Android. And I kind of wish that all of the manufacturers would stick to, stock Android, which they're not, because, they want to have their hand in doing everything. But I don't know. I mean, I guess that they're dealing out things a lot like the iOS, and, I think they're going to pay for it this time.
No, I'm not sure what they get out of putting their own stuff over the stock Android. But
in a way, I guess it gives you a little bit more branding. Like, I mean, a lot of the Android phones, this is how I would look at it. A lot of the Android phones look the same right now. I mean, or actually a lot of them, like, whatever. The Nexus S looks a lot like some of the other phones that different manufacturers use, and I think that branding gives them just a little bit more saying, "Hey, this is Samsung." Like if you look at, I don't know. I mean, that's how I've always looked at it, but
so they can put that logos all over the phone though. You got the HTC phones, as you see HTC at the top and silver letters or whatever. Quite plainly, it's an HTC phone. So I think they should give you a choice whether you should have stock on it or their own stuff.
It kind of reminds me of if you buy a Windows PC today, like my Dell laptop, I bought it, and you can pay like $30 for Dell to not put bloatware on it, which does not make sense to me. Like, and they're the only.
I basically reinstall it without the bloatware anyway.
Yeah.
Myself.
But I mean, it reminds me of the same thing. Like the Dell stuff. Like if you bought a Dell laptop or a desktop today, it comes with this crappy dock up at the top that doesn't.
Yeah, I hate that.
I mean, and I don't know why you do that. I mean, Windows 7 is a pretty daggum good experience. Why do you want to ruin it with some third-party software? But they want that Dell logo to be on there, even if you don't look at your desktop, logo every day. I guess that's why they do that. I don't know. But our final story for the day is a very interesting story, in my opinion. Even though I don't spend too much time on Facebook, this is long overdue, especially as an avid iPad user. This is from the nextweb.com. Facebook is soon to release the long overdue iPad app. Facebook is almost ready to release its long overdue iPad app, the New York Times reports. While the company had a Facebook app for the iPhone as ready as the App Store was available, it neither released or indicated the release of an iPad version in the year since. The amazingly successful tablet has been released, and users haven't been happy about this. It's forced them to use the iPhone application, which handles poorly and looks worse on the iPad, or the mobile web app. Now, Facebook has always taken the stance so far. If like people emailed them and stuff saying, "Hey, where's the iPad app?" They say, "Hey, you can just use Facebook.com in the Safari."
Well, I got Friendly.
I do too. I use it as well. And
there's a couple of others as well. There's tons of third-party Facebook apps now.
But I have a feeling that when Facebook brings out their new application, and when you search for Facebook in the iOS App Store, and the number one result is Facebook, the official application, how many people are going to download Friendly anymore? You know what I mean?
No, if you've already got it though.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Then, because by now I would expect if you got an iPad and use Facebook, you made a choice whether you're going to use Friendly or whatever, or whether you're going to use the website.
Yeah.
So
I hate the website.
They have to basically make it look better than Friendly or whatever in order for people to go for it.
The website is a horrible experience, in my opinion, on an iPhone. Or not iPhone, an iPad. In my opinion.
On an iPad, yeah, it's not that good. On my number one, it's not.
Yeah. Friendly is pretty good for me. I don't have too many complaints. Sometimes I think it's just because they're a smaller startup and they don't have the support. Like sometimes it takes a little bit too long for it to load, in my opinion. And I kind of wish they would change some of the UI features. You know what I mean, Carlo? Like there's sometimes if you try to back out of let's just say that you go to a like page or something, and you want to back out to your home feed, your home or your news feed or whatever. It's kind of hard to do. There's like a little tiny app. There's a little tiny command or whatever at the top of the page. I'm like, can't you make that a little bit bigger and make the top bar like a little bit smaller? But it's worked.
But there was a lot of bugs in it as well,
yeah.
At least to start with when I first grabbed it, and then they updated it. But one thing I don't approve of though is when it was like their last update or something, they changed the icon. It's got this brown outline now.
Oh yeah, they changed it. They've changed it a couple times actually. And one time it was because they were using that if you don't have a Facebook profile picture, it puts like that random character or whatever. It's just the outline of a person.
The silhouette picture.
Yeah, they were using that as their icon, and Facebook I think said something about it, and they had to change it. But I don't know. I mean, I don't think third-party Facebook applications are where third-party Twitter applications are right now. I mean, it's just third-party Twitter applications, a lot of them are better than some of the... I mean, I like Usphora better, like 100 times better than the stock Twitter application for iPad,
Yeah,
but
I use that a lot.
I think I'll probably download it because my iPad, in a way, like, Friendly kind of... I don't know, it makes it kind of hard to use Facebook for iPad for me. I don't know.
Or if it's free and it turns out to be better, then yeah.
I'm sure it'll be free, but I paid $2.99 or $3.99. I don't know. It was back when Friendly first came out and they didn't have a free version. I paid $3.99 for Friendly just because I hated the web app.
Yeah, I paid for it at the beginning.
And I'm not quite sure, like, that. I guess it's, I don't know. I guess I could justify it again, but if there's a Facebook application waiting on me when I go back in there, probably going to download the Facebook application, honestly.
Yeah, it depends how it turns out, because I could download it and open it, and it could be utter trash. So,
or it may look like Twitter for iPad or something, and I'll be like, oh,
yeah,
God.
Something like that. So, yeah, it depends how it turns out. They've got to basically make it look and feel better than what is out there already.
Right. All right. Well, I guess that does it for this week's episode of Tech Weekly. As always, you can check out pbcasttv.com and twitter.com/pbcasttv. And make sure to subscribe to our newsletter. Best way to keep in touch with everything that's going on. And that way, you know, sometimes our calendar isn't like, because Google Calendar, like, you can change specific dates, but it kind of messes up like our flow of things. So most of the time, if we have a schedule change or something, I'll email that out in the newsletter. Unfortunately, as you probably already, I think I already mentioned this, but Jago wasn't here this week. He's prepping for a trip that he's going on, not this week, but next week, so he won't be here all of, I don't know what date. It's after, it's like the 27th through July 1st or something, I don't know. But that'll be detailed in this week's newsletter. And you can follow Carlo on Twitter at twitter.com/Carlo Brown, and he's also a contributor to the teenagehackers.com, which is a great website for really good opinion-based things. And Carlo, you've been doing some, I know you reviewed Linux Mint a couple weeks ago, and then you had a couple other stories as well.
Yeah, I basically put stuff up there as and when I can think about it, rather than, I sort of don't like sort of duplicating what other websites do, like TechCrunch and Engadget. I sort of tried to come up with sort of semi-unique stuff and just sort of put it up there when I think about it.
Yeah, and I've dabbled in news a little bit more. Like I have a sports blog that doesn't get much attention now because but I always tried to give more of an opinion-based story, because as a smaller blog, you're never going to be able to break a story unless it just like falls in your lap. So, I mean,
well, I do find it pretty hard to be non-biased anyway. That's just in my nature. So
yeah,
that's why most of my stuff ends up being a bit ranty.
Oh well, I think rants are awesome to watch and read as well. So anyway, you can check out Carlo on there. You can follow me on Twitter if I can click the right one. There we go. Twitter.com/thatnickjones and nickjones.me. Make sure to, whoa, that was bad. Stay tuned to the live stream, live.pbcasttv.com. We are live on Saturdays, Mondays, Thursdays, and I guess that's it, yeah. But that's with our live shows, but when we're not live, we have pre-recorded content that rolls. Most of the time during the day, I'll like on the rest of Saturday, I'll start like this Tech Weekly and then a couple of the Tech Weeklies. But in the middle of the week, you can come catch all the shows if you've missed some. Usually we're pretty good about getting shows out on time, but if we're not, you can always come to live stream and they'll be up and running. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. And until next time, I'm Nick Jones.
I'm Carlo Brown.
And this has been another episode of Tech Weekly. See you guys.
Peace out.
Oh man, one-man show over here. I can't start the music. All right, here we go. See you guys. Our systems go out on the floor. This is what you came here for, my friend.